Hey guys, welcome back to episode of my Draftkings series where we go ahead and take a look at all the options for week one and which ones are the best. Starting off right away, I want to do a Tua Tagovailoa stack today. And the reason why is because I talked about in my first video how amazing the Justin Herbert stack is going to be. Because again, you can stack him up in any way possible. You can skinny stack him with Austin Eckler. You can skinny stack him with Keenan Allen. Double stack him with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and him. Or you could triple stack it with, of course, using Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams. Now, I will say overall wise, and this is just a broad statement moving forward, right? Keep in mind that while yes, you can double, triple stack people, I like to stay toward just double stacking. I know some people get into quad stacking. The problem with if you stack more than two people is that the chances of them all going off and having great days for you is very slim. It can happen, right? I mean, if you have like when the Chiefs played the Rams a couple years ago, if you have that type of game and it's like, back and forth, crazy numbers, then yeah, it could happen. But at the same time, though, it's less likely to happen, right? It's the same reason why we don't stack fantasy quarterbacks with running backs who aren't pass catchers. Austin Eckler and Christian McCaffrey are the exception to the rule because my quarterback can have a great day and they can have a great day from receiving the football. But if it's like a Derrick Henry-esque, you're not going to stack Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill because obvious reasons. If Derrick Henry has a great day, and let's say he goes off, then most likely Tannehill's not going to have a great day too, right? Because, again, they're not benefiting each other. Derrick Henry's not a pass-catching running back. So if I'm going to, let's say they go toward first and goal at the 3-yard line, yes, I would get points either way if, Derrick Henry or Ryan Tannehill scored, but I'd get even more points is if Derrick Henry was catching the football and getting a touchdown. So there's a reason why we kind of avoid those type of stacks. But for the Tua stack, because I talked about in my video, the first video, that I really do like the fact that that's going to be a high-scoring affair. You got to keep in mind that the Dolphins' Jalen Ramsey is out for this game, and the Chargers, well, yes, they are still a good defense, don't get me wrong, they might struggle a tad bit on defense. And same thing with Miami. And Herbo just got his brand new contract, so he's ready to go. You have Austin Eckler, who of course just is trying to get a contract, so he's gonna be fighting for one. And Herbo, after losing that playoff game to the Jags, he's ready to start the season off correctly. While Tua, finally healthy, thankfully, and no concussions week one, he should look good too. So starting off right away, you got to keep an eye out on this Miami Dolphins unit. Now, for my stacking purposes, obviously the chalkiest stack of the week is going to be a skinny stack between Tua and Tyreek Hill. The reason why is because Jalen Waddle is questionable. Now, Jalen Waddle does fully believe that he will be ready to go and play on week one, but you got to keep an eye out and see his status going into week one. He said he's feeling good, but again, things change quickly in the NFL, and you got to be on top of things. So, I'm actually not going to do the skinny stack here of Tua and Tyreek Hill. You could do that. That's a very viable one. But again, if you are going to do that, it's very chalky. You're going to want to try to find diversity in your lineup elsewhere. And that's where you could go with players, for example, like Zay Flowers of the Baltimore Ravens, right? That's where a player who might not get as much, chalkiness, and that could help you out to, push your lineup a little bit more. But let's say you do go ahead and go with the double stack here. In this video, we're going to go with the double stack here. But again, like I said, it's definitely risky. Keep in mind, all the other weapons, Robbie Chosen, him changing his name just absolutely kills me. Anyway, though, he got cut. So he's no longer in the roster. Cedric Wilson Jr. went ahead and restructured his contract, so he's going to remain on the roster. Other options is going to be, you could go tight end wise, Tyler Croft. I don't really love the tight end options, I'll be honest with you. I probably wouldn't go tight end options. Raheem Moser does interest me a tad bit because he can be of a pass catching running back. So he does interest me a tad bit. It's really come down for him with injuries, I feel like. Jeff Wilson Jr., the old 49ers running back, same concept. I feel like they have like 3 running backs exactly the same. But I'm not really too interested in the running back core for this team. Now, I will say this, and I think this is a broad statement for everyone, that whenever you are doing stacks in fantasy football, it's not just for Tua, this is for any stacks you're doing. Right? We like to talk about skinny stacks, double stack, triple stacks. If you do a triple stack or anything more than a triple stack, I know some people do quad stacks, and that's because they really want to get a lot of value from one set game. Especially if there's only one, if there's a game of the year going on or a game of the week where everyone thinks this game's gonna be awesome. It's very risky the more people you stack for obvious reasons, right? Because at the end of the day, let's say you stack up a quarterback and 3 receivers. Well, chances are, even if that quarterback goes off and has a fantastic day, the odds of all 3 of those receivers and going off 2 and having crazy days is less likely, right? Because at the end of the day, it might be one receiver that goes off. It might be one receiver, their tight end that goes off and has red zone targets, and then it might be, a third string receiver that goes off, right? It might not be the guys that you think it's going to be. So whenever you're doing your stacks, be very careful not to, go too much into one game. Now, of course, I do love buyback options as always, and in this game, I do want to buy back into this game. Now, here's how I look at it, right? Because Austin Eckler should be a good buyback option, you might say. Well, the problem is how expensive Austin Eckler is. If we are going to find ourselves going with Austin Eckler here, the buyback option, we won't be able to make the rest of the lineup work. And yes, if you are going to go with Austin Eckler, you got to take out Tyreek Hill. No Tyreek Hill or Austin Eckler. You got to choose one. Which buyback option do you want? I'm sorry, which option do you want? The double stack here, or do you want Austin Eckler? Now, keep in mind, Austin Eckler and Tyreek Hill are going to be very chalky, so nonetheless, no, it's not like you're going to take away one chalkiness from going with the other guy. All right, so for a buyback option I like personally is Mike Williams. I think he can get behind the defense and actually make a couple great plays in this game. I am going to go as always to my very cheap, underpriced receiver that I still can't believe is so cheap, and that's going to be Zay Flowers. I think he's a very viable option week 1 versus Houston Texans secondary. That really is not that fantastic. For my defense, I'm going to go with a cheaper defense this week. As always, defense, listen, I know some people like to go really in depth with defense, break it down, look at every little detail. This defense, this guy, he farted yesterday, and that shows that he might have the run. So therefore, he's not going to play good. Like, there is so many different detailed analysis of defenses. At the end of the day, defenses, usually there is a defense, like when they give you predictions, usually like, okay, this defense going to do good, and usually they do. But there's a lot of times, and I mean a tons of times, where a defense is supposed to do good or supposed to do this, and this, and they end up not hitting the mark, or they do way worse than they were supposed to. So just keep that in mind that it's not always the case. But with that being said, I am going to go ahead and go with, I don't like the Colts versus, I don't like the Colts versus Jacksonville at all. I will say that will be an interesting defense to look out for, just because if Anthony Richardson and obviously Jonathan Taylor is out for the first 4 games of the season, but if Anthony Richardson just runs that football and controls time of possession, they might be able to keep that to a low-scoring affair, and that might be interesting. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Carolina versus Atlanta. I feel like Desmond Ridder might struggle a tad bit in this game, and I'm going to take advantage of that. Now, for the next pick I'm going to go with is tight end. I was kind of deciding where I want to go at tight end, but I want to go for a cheaper option. Again, as we always say, because it's a very chalky lineup, I want to diversify my lineup a tad bit. I want to go with someone who probably won't be talked about that much or get that much, publicity and chalkiness. And I think a guy that it really could be that guy is Pat Freiermuth. Yeah, I know he's going against the 49ers, okay? I get that. It is what it is. But he could get some goal line looks. He could also get some, across the middle looks. They're going to use Darnell Washington on that team too. And obviously, he's more of a run blocker. He's not as much of a pass blocker. Well, he's trying to become more of a pass blocker, but he's not as much at this moment in time. But for 4,100, I'm okay with getting there with, if, let's say, for example, he goes out there and catches, 6 passes. Maybe he puts up 30 yards and he falls in the end zone. I'm actually okay with that at 4,100. Even though Fred Warner will be looking at him a lot, I'm not too scared, in all honesty. All right, so for running back, I want to go for a cheaper option at running back, my first option here. And I'm thinking about going with a skinny stack here of Zay Flowers and Damian Pierce. I could see that actually working out pretty well, especially at 5,800. Keep in mind that Damian Pierce not last year, but Dalvin Cook last year when he played the Ravens, he had like 95 rushing yards. And this Ravens defensive line has gotten worse. They gotten rid of a lot of pieces. So I would not be surprised to see this now sophomore guy actually have a pretty good week 1 game. It's very possible that he gets shut out, though, so that's why I'm kind of on the fence about it. And the Ravens have been known, again, throughout time for being pretty good against the run. So, kind of going back and forth on a couple options there. Javonte Williams is going to be on a limited snap count, so please do not use him in DFS. He is not worth it. Tyler Agnew did interest me a lot, but as I think about it more, I know Bijan Robinson is starting running back. Tyler Agnew could get to the point where he gets enough carries that he makes back his $5,400 price tag if he gets a goal line carry, etc. But not too much into that. The prices of running back week 1 is actually a lot higher than I want it to be. I'm going to go with Cam Akers. I think I went with him in one of my earlier videos. I'm going to go with him right here. I think it could work out in the end here. And I think here's what I'm going to do. And this might be a little risky of a play. But I'm going to go cheaper at tight end. Okay? And this is a guy I really do like. Irv Smith Jr. for Cincinnati. Yes, he goes against Cleveland, but keep in mind, Cleveland's linebackers are not that great. They're not. And Irv Smith could be a very non-chalky play to go with. Joe Burrow is going to be playing week 1. And again, you got to keep in mind, Hayden Hurst last year, Joe Burrow targeted a crap ton. He gave him a lot of targets. So this could be a week 1 game where he could be the, X factor here. Especially because the Browns have some pretty good cornerbacks in Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. Keep an eye on Greg Newsome's status, though, for week 1, because he's kind of up in the air at this moment in time. He said he would absolutely be ready for week 1, but he does have a groin injury, which kind of makes me kind of fall back on him. I'm not really interested in Devontae Foreman. This is like an ugly range, I'll be honest with you, for running back here. I think what I'm going to do here is I might get away from this stack. Because again, like I said, listen, at the end of the day, this is what you could go with if you really wanted to do this, right? That is a perfectly viable stack. Yes, Damian Pierce. Yeah, Damian Pierce. I don't know why I thought I was saying his name wrong. Tua stacked up with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They're going to go off, right? You know they're going to get theirs. They're going to get their points. And then obviously the buyback option in that game being Mike Williams. That, I think, is a very viable, thing. How I like to do my lineups, especially DFS, is I have players that I know consistently, I consistent points that I can feel confident in and know they're going to hit. And I know Tua is going to put up his points. I know that. I know Tyreek's going to hit his. I know Jalen Waddle is going to hit his as long as he's healthy. Those 3 guys are my breadwinners, 100%, money back guarantee. You're going to make some plays. Mike Williams is my home run hitter, right? He's a guy who in this game could go off. Now, I think Mike Williams, I put his floor at around 10 to 12 points. I think his ceiling could be up to 40 points. Again, he's a guy who goes up and gets crazy deep passes. So that's another guy that I'm kind of on the fence. About, but I do really like. And I like to have that in my lineup. So at the end of the day, I can have someone who goes off. Irv Smith Jr. does interest me a lot. And it's mainly because his floor is very low. Okay, his floor is honestly 3 points. That's his floor. But at 3,600, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a floor of 3,600 of 4 or 3 points. But his ceiling is probably 20 points. And that is perfectly okay with my tight end. The reason why I'm spending down on that is because of the fact that, his ceiling, I think he can hit his ceiling. I really believe he can hit his ceiling. Zay Flowers, I think his floor is at least 8 to 10 points. And at 4,000, I'm taking that. His ceiling is 30 points. And then Panthers defense, it really comes down to how good Desmond Ridder and Bijan and all those guys do. I'm kind of on the fence about the Panthers defense too. But I will say, overall wise, my only issue with this lineup, again, I do like this lineup, but my only issue would be probably Dameon Pierce. And it's just be with the Ravens. But again, week one, you never know. I mean, you never know how defenses are going to look last season to this season. I mean, the Ravens did lose, again, a lot of their pieces. They lost Marcus Peters. They lost Calais Campbell. They lost Justin Houston and JPP. They've lost some pieces on that defense. So I'm going to stick it with this lineup, actually. I'm just going to lock it in there. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.